you're more of a worker than a networker. Yeah. Well, that's good because some artists are all network and no work. And I actually almost canceled this because I was out of apple juice. Hello, this is Waswo X Waswo coming to you from Udaipur for another episode of Evil O. And today we are talking to somebody who I met a long time ago, and I added him to my print collection, I think in 2012 or something. Neeraj Singh Khandka. Hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you, sir?
Say hi.
Fine.
Where are you today?
I'm staying in Delhi right now.
Okay.
I work in Delhi, and this is my house converted into a studio.
Well, aren't you from Rajasthan initially or no?
Yes. Actually, I'm from Sri Ganganagar. It's a northern part of Rajasthan.
Okay.
And I was born in the small hill town of Nainital.
Wow. Okay.
And as my father works in the army, so I had to move from place to place with him. So that's a quite interesting thing for my childhood to be in different cultures and different places of India. And this is how I grew up from my early childhood. And that takes me to a different taste of India, actually. I moved from different places, and at the last, while he was in his last phase of the army and he's going to retire, then we settled down in the Rajasthan. So basically right now we are placing in Rajasthan. I work in Delhi. I'm staying in Delhi, and I work here.
I met you. I remember I met you in Shanti Niketan. I was in Shanti Niketan with Sheikh Asghar Ali.
Yes,
He was showing me around, and you kind of grabbed me. And you were very insistent that I talk to you and that you show me your work, I remember. And I ended up buying, I think, 2 lithographs.
I think they were etching that time.
Were they etchings? I thought they were lithos. I'm quite sure they were lithos.
No, but... you bought some lithographs, a couple of lithographs later.
Okay. So maybe I bought some etching first and then I bought some lithos later. So anyway, they ended up in my print collection, and then they traveled all around India in 2012. At least the lithographs did, I remember. Maybe not the etchings. And I admired your work then, but the reason I want to talk to you is because you've been posting some marvelous things on Facebook that you've been doing during the lockdown, during these COVID times. Even Johnny ML has taken notice. So I just want to talk about some of those, and I don't want to totally peg you as a printmaker because I know you do more than that. Okay, not that there's anything wrong with being a printmaker, obviously.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much.
Okay, but I noticed you have a large acrylic on canvas that was called Pandemic. So let's start with Pandemic and tell me about that one.
Okay, if talking about that particular work. Actually, I was not aware about this pandemic scenario earlier. Nobody was there because it's a thing very new. And the situation which was created during all these things, it was so fast happening. Everything was changing so fast. And actually, I started that particular work before pandemic.
Well, I noticed a few of the image you sent me, you had people wearing masks, but they were dated 2018. So, I mean, I thought that was rather prescient on your part that you could do that.
Actually, I was working, living in this Delhi since a long time. I was always facing the problems which is a person living in a city always encounter, like the pollution, the crowd, and the concrete, and all these things are there. And I feel after every festivals, there is always a problem that arises of that, and you need to buy a mask. So that's a very habitual thing in that city life, that mask.
So in the painting Pandemic, somebody is crouched on top of a gas cylinder, which I think is a motif you've used in the past. and it looks like they're lighting a match. It's a very katra dangerous situation. Yes.
Yes, exactly. I want to that particular work. It's a thing like an alarming situation is there, and you have to be a bit more sensible and towards these man-made growing things like the concrete jungles I'm talking about here. So that's a pre-pandemic work, which came to be finished in the pandemic and the lockdown situations. So I can say it's an amalgamation of two things: a pre-pandemic situation, a man struggling with all that pollution and concrete, and that again that came suddenly that pandemic arises in that situation. So this is how this.
I'm sorry.
Please.
No, you can go on if I'm interrupting you.
No.
I should tell people though that like why your screen is smaller than mine, because we had some technical difficulties setting this up. So Niraj is coming from his phone, and I actually almost canceled this because I was out of apple juice, and when I didn't have any apple juice, it was like, well, I don't know if I can go through with this, but anyway. But here we are.
You must have some coffee then.
Can we move on to the next one, which was Life in Lockdown, which I really like. That's another acrylic on canvas.
Yes.
Reminds me of a Bhupen Cocker. Some of your works are very Bhupen Cocker-like to me.
I don't know why, but yes, you can say that. But actually, I am not very much inspired with the Bhupen Cocker works. That's the situation. That's a very common situation. If you watch that, the person like buying vegetables with that the way they are shown in the painting, and like standing on the balcony and watching the world. So this is all the reactions which came to me in the lockdown. That is a pure lockdown work. When the initially it started, so that's a reaction for the lockdown. Actually, we are locked and we are really bored with what we are doing. Actually, that's the because you can see the houses in the cities are quite small. They are not that big houses like you are having in the Udaipur, but this is quite a small place, and it's quite difficult to be here all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I know it's rather unfair of me or anybody to bring up Bhupen Cocker just because there's a figure on a balcony.
Yes.
But you know, that does spring to mind right away. But anyway,
because mostly the people see that the person is standing on a balcony, and like what the Bhupen Cocker did. But I definitely did not connect with that situation of mine. Because at that time, he was not having that pandemic situation. He is in a different mood. He's standing in a different time period. This is a different situation. I'm painting in it in a different situation. And I might be very young when I'm painting it when comparing to the Bhupen Cocker.
Yeah.
That's a quite different situation. And he's narrating a story there, if you remember that word.
It's a narrative.
Yes. But this is a narrative of the pandemic situation. This is this work come into existence with this pandemic crisis, and all my daily what I did in the balconies and on the rooftops, that becomes here, that comes to play in a different situation. Like I'm buying that vegetable, okay, and that never happens before this pandemic. I used to go to a market and buy the vegetables after so much of that bargaining and all those things. But the situation here changes. I'm just putting a bucket down with the rope and asking him to do all those, putting all the vegetables.
I love that little touch of putting the things in the basket or the bucket to bring up to the roof. That's really wonderful. You know?
Yes, quite an interesting thing. And look, these things I learned from this, that even the world is in that big crisis even, but we are not going and we are not leaving the things like that. If we take the example of that vegetable seller, he seems to me quite a very courageous person to be here on the roads and selling those vegetables.
Yeah, I always thought the same thing because I was locked down here for 2 months, couldn't get out. But the Bajiwala was still coming by with his
Yes,
tela all the time. And I thought, well, this man's a brave man to be delivering the vegetables. He's the one
yes,
taking a
yes,
risk
yes.
of going door to door. You
Definitely,
know.
definitely. So these
So
things.
then, you sort of chastised me for bringing up Bhupen Kakar. So I don't know if I should bring up the next one on my list, which has a donkey in it.
Okay.
It was the etching. What was the etching called?
No, I think it's a
There was
woodcut.
there was a man on a donkey.
That's a woodcut, I think.
That's a woodcut, yes.
Woodcut, yes, yes,
Well, you
yes.
want to talk about that briefly?
Yes, yes. That I did in 2019, I guess, and that's a pre-pandemic situation. I don't know. I am not aware about that Corona thing, so I'm continuing that work from last, I think, 2018 or 17. I started that Mask Man actually.
Okay.
And in that particular situation, if we talk about that work, there's a donkey shown over there, and in our society, like we say, if some person is a foolish person, we just compare him to a donkey. It's and one more, like it's a hardworking person. If somebody is a hardworking person, he is also compared to a donkey kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so in this work, there is, if you watch it carefully, there is a man who is carrying all the automobiles, and one more that buildings, the concrete jungle carrying with him. And if you see that imagery, that is a story from the Indian mythology. There is a son. There is a son who takes his father and mother. I will not name actually, but that is a reference of that picture actually. So there is a son who is taking his father and mother. That they are both blind actually. So means I connect here with the most precious thing in the contemporary man is the automobile and that concrete.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
these are the two most important things in the life of a contemporary person who is living in the city, especially like Delhi. You have to be, if you are getting your own house, that's a very big thing. If you're getting your own car, that's a very big thing. But we are all doing this with a very, very, very foolish, I think, very silly mind. We are all doing and collecting all the things, even if we are not having the space to keep all those things. Like if we are not having the space to suppose to park a car, and still we are buying two and three of no use, I guess. So we are carrying, the man is carrying that thing, and he seems to be a very wise man. I have written, I think, the wise man carrying on a donkey. So
Yeah,
he
that's
seems to be
that's the title, isn't it? The Wise Man on a Donkey.
yes,
Okay, I
yes.
forgot the
The
full
wise
title.
man is carrying all this materialistic thing, and he seems to be very clever, but he is standing on a donkey. And I cut a part. There is one more part in the addition is the wise man on a donkey and crossing zebra. So I
Oh,
just
the zebra
somehow,
crossing.
yes,
The
exactly.
zebra crossing on a zebra crossing.
Because when you are crossing a zebra, now you have to be very conscious, and you have to see here and there. So that man is, I guess he is the most wise person doing all those things in this present world. So that's how this came to my mind, and I did it.
Well, we always remember in the old days, and I'm going back like 20 years in certain villages in Goa,
Uh,
there was like, we remember we were in a ramble. And we remember the first person in a ramble who bought a car, because when we were first there were only scooters and there
mhm,
were minivans, but the minivans were just for tourist shuttles, but nobody had a
mhm,
car. And then
mhm,
somebody bought a car, and God, if you go there these days, or even if you went there
mhm,
like 10 years ago, you can't
mhm,
find a place to park anymore. It's so changed, but it's
mhm.
like, as soon as people get money, it's one of the first things they want,
Uh-huh.
you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes,
And
exactly,
also the concrete roof. As
exactly.
beautiful as the tile roofs are, which they're
Uh,
just so gorgeous, but they want a concrete roof because they're more
exactly.
practical.
Exactly. And I
So,
feel you as a lucky person. You are living in Udaipur. It's a beautiful city.
mm,
I don't know it's a village or where you are staying, but that's a beautiful place, I think. And you are one of the luckiest person.
it's a
Uh,
town. I mean, it's a city.
yeah.
Udaipur is a city, but it feels
Yeah.
like a town because it's a
Yeah.
little smaller and everybody kind of knows each other here.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But let's get back to your work. So
Okay.
let's talk about a little bit this series that got everybody so excited on Facebook, which are the works that are on what is it? Some kind of board.
This is
MDF board.
MDF
board.
MDF board, yes.
Are those just carvings on board, or are you making prints from those as well?
Oh no, I'm not going to take any prints from them.
Okay, so they're just carvings. You're only producing the carvings. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to explain like that whole series a little bit?
Yeah, why not?
It's a beautiful series. I think it's beautiful, and I'm looking at ones like Offering, Showstopper, Peeping Through the Years.
These comes in the second later part. The first I did. Initially, I did the 4 in the mass seller was there, and therefore more woodcuts are there. Okay, let me talk how it came to my mind and how it all started.
However you want to approach it, just do.
Yeah. Initially I did a couple of paintings when this lockdown was there, but being as you said that I have a formal education in printmaking, so I want to do some of the works in printmaking also, not that hardcore printmaking, that rubbing all and taking prints on paper, but somehow what I have learned from my education, and I want to convey to transfer that my feeling of this lockdown into that form. So I took that MDF board was the medium that time which was available to me. That's the only medium available, and some canvas and all other things. But if I want to do some woodcuts, that's the only thing available to me. So initially I put some drawings and do a lot of drawings and feeling very bored and kind of things. And the day I started and watching and going out of the balcony and the rooftops and started watching people more there. And in this lockdown, most of my time was there in the balconies and the rooftops.
Yeah.
And a few things I learned very as I've been practicing those earlier also, like being a gardener. I become a part-time gardener in this lockdown, and I have a beautiful plant and all planters there in my garden, small balcony garden. So there is an attachment that was created, and which was not very much forced. People say that an artist loves the isolation. I heard a lot of people saying that artists loves that isolation. But artists never loves and forced isolation, which was in this case. So I was.
Yeah, I was feeling the same thing, because I would always tell people I love to be a hermit. I'm just a hermit in Udaipur. I don't see many people. But when I was locked in the house for over 2 months, it was like I was crawling the walls. I realized how much I really do value getting out and meeting people.
So I started that thing, and initially I started watching people, what actually they are doing in their life in these lockdown times, how they are spending their times and all these things. Like they're watching the other person, what they are doing. They are more interested. That's a change in the city life. Earlier, there were nobody is interested in any other's life. But I feel from my side that nobody was interested, and nobody has time actually in the big cities to get connected with the other people. But now the things have changed, as the most of the people, they remain at home, they are free, I guess, and they are connecting through the balconies. They are watching the life through the balconies and all those rooftops. They are having a little bit of chats. People are doing that gardening things, and all those things are there. People are.
Do you live in quite a congested area yourself, where you observe
these things
in your own neighborhood?
Yes, but this time, look, as living in a city, I don't have my own house, so we keep shifting. Yeah. I'm living this place from last 2 years. So this time I'm very lucky that I got a very big balcony, and that works in this lockdown. Right. We got a big balcony and a big rooftop, so I feel myself very lucky. And in those times, in the initial lockdown, when it started, there is a construction site just just it's a back of my house. I have a construction site, and there are a few laborers were there who, due to this lockdown, they somehow were they come in a trouble situation, and initially they just sit there and talk for a long, because they are not working, they are working people. If they are not working, they feel very uncomfortable, and I was the person who was watching them always. And then somehow these things came to me, and I interacted with them with that balcony, that how are you, what are you doing to do, and how you are going to be at your home place now. So these are the little interaction with them, and somehow these got a new experience to me, because when, if there is no lockdown and there's not such situation, I'm not the person, suppose they are not talking to them in that way, I guess. So whatever the help I can offer to them, I offered a little bit, and that's all a different part. But when it comes to the imagery, I was so moved by all these things, and I really want to create a dialogue with the viewer. And after watching all these things, being an artist, I know these things at the best, what I guess, what I feel that these are the things I know best. So I try to create
if I can interrupt, I'm just a little confused, because in this series, you did a whole series called Balconies and Rooftops.
Yes.
But you also have some that look similar, but it has a different series name. Am I correct?
Yes.
What's the other series name? There's Balconies and Rooftops, and what's the other one?
No, it's the same.
It's all balconies and rooftops.
Yes. All the balconies and the rooftops, but the work titles somehow are different, because it takes a lot of time to do that carving in the wood. It's not a quick thing to do. It takes a time. And when I'm doing the first one, suppose I do it in the way like I started the 4 first. First, I started the 4, then I come in the later part and then again did the 4. So it's all done like in one go, 4 and one go, that's the other part. I try to do that because to keep my condition of whatever I'm expressing, so that it remains there, and I'm very aware that it should not be washed away from my head in that expressing way of whatever the medium I'm using, because I'm a person who gets bored very soon. Whatever I'm doing, I get bored very, very soon.
That's a good trait for an artist. It keeps you moving and inventing things all the time.
Yes. And after that, all woodcuts, I'm now again doing some paintings. So I think these changes keep you alive as an artist. I think very, very important thing.
I'm just curious, like, if I understand you right, you're only going to exhibit these as the wood carvings. Why would you, as somebody who has a background in printmaking, why would you decide not to make prints from them? I've noticed not only you, because I've noticed some other artists also approaching it in the same manner, only selling the carving.
I don't know what about the others, but if I talk me in personal, I think there are a lot of complication while you take a print, because when you produce a block and it comes to that paper or the surface, the result that you are thinking is missed by some of the percentage. Suppose you are thinking of 100%, you never get that. You get the 70, 80, or almost, if you are very good at printing, then you get the 90%. You never get 100% result. The first thing is that. The second is because I have a lot of friends, I'm doing it from since 10 years. So it's quite tough to keep the prints in good condition for a long time. So I'm not doing that. And I'm more focusing on painting nowadays. And okay, I did these woodcuts because there is no such options to do, but I'm focusing on painting nowadays and doing some watercolor and gouache works. And I hope to continue more in the painting and doing some woodcuts and the wood blocks, not taking the prints in the future, I guess.
So where are you showing these days? Are you still in a lot of group shows? Have you had any solo shows? I'm sorry, but I haven't kept track of you that much as I should.
No, I haven't done any solo yet. And
that's really a shame because you're very talented. You're extremely talented. You deserve a solo, Niraj. I really do.
Yeah.
If any galleries are listening, you know, they should check out Neeraj Singh Khandka because you have quite an incredible body of work.
I guess you remember the meeting when we are in 2010. I think we met first time.
Yeah.
I was in the studio and working. I think you remember. If you remember.
Yes.
Then, if you come and meet me right now, I'm also working in the studio. So I'm a person. I'm moreover a studio person kind of a thing.
So you think you're more of a worker than a networker? Yeah. Well, that's good because some artists are all network and no work.
Yes,
I've seen that.
And I think that's networking is again a big art. I think.
Yes.
And I need to learn that very soon. Otherwise, it's quite difficult.
Well, we have a motto in our Karkhana with Rakesh and Rajesh and all of us. Our motto is we are always working. Mm-hmm. Because we really feel like we are always working. It's like, we always try to keep something going all the time. Mm-hmm. So,
one thing I want to say about all those works, what I want in the technical and that terms, I want to express that I want to be very minimal in my approach. If you see these works, and I want to be very simple in my execution. And as well as in my expression. So one very beautiful thing happened that the more the common people, not the artist and who belongs to the art community, very common people, they are connecting to these works. So that's a very good feeling for me as an artist. If a common man who is not aware of any art education and art studies and all these things, but he connects and he appreciates and he says, "Oh wow, this is the thing what is happening to me." So that feels very good at times, and this is what happening to this particular series of Lockdown. Some of my family friends and all are they calling me, and you have done very good that, and yes, actually that is happening. So it feels great when.
This was the, I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, maybe I'm confusing myself. Was this just one painting? It was called Stories of Beyond and Inside the Wall. Watercolor and gouache.
Watercolor. Yes, I remember.
Yeah?
That's a gouache and watercolor.
You want to talk about that one?
Yes, please. That's a pre-pandemic work. And
okay.
Somehow when I start working now, I start in 2-3 things, like 2-3 paintings I start at the same time. And if I do the woodcut, same 2-3 woodcuts I start at the same time. So that work is also a pre-pandemic I started, but somehow it came to be completed in this lockdown. And if you watch, there is a person carrying a pot in his head, I guess. So I projected myself as that person who is carrying all those pots and all those things. And there is a person who is smoking at the head from the balcony, if you see that work.
You had another work with somebody with a pot on the head, the oxygen cellar.
Yeah, oxygen cellar.
Oxygen cellar, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's a different one. And that was I think in 2019 I did.
Yeah, according to my notes, that's what
it is. Yes. So that oxygen cellar is the plant seller who actually comes to my colony, and I was an observer of him since a long time. And that was the time when that festivals were going on in the city, like I don't want to name a particular, but you understand. So that the thing that at that time there is an advertisement of this Erica palm and all those planters and oxygen supplier and air purifier plants, all those were there, and I was that in my mind. And one day I was standing and watching that plant seller, and it clicked to me somehow that oh, he's the oxygen seller to me.
Yeah.
He
It's a
sells
nice
the oxygen.
concept. He's the oxygen seller.
He's the oxygen seller in the cities. So he's doing a very good job. So I want that thing to come. And there also I use some a drawing part is if you observe, I don't make that particular person. It's being a bit more my character in that thing. It's myself in that character of oxygen seller, as I'm also grooming the plants and giving them water and all those things in a very tiny way. But that's a beautiful thing to do. As if you see a plant and you keep a seedling and in the wall and it's growing, that process is very beautiful to watch. So that's
You
how
have
that.
a related work, I think, called Suffocation, with like a
Yes, yes,
cactus with a bunch of like
yes,
high
yes.
rises growing out in the shape of a cactus.
Yes, yes, and that's actually the reaction of that. That's also a pre-pandemic work, and
That's quite
that.
old. That's going back quite far,
Yes,
I
yes.
think. Yeah.
18. I think 18. I did that. That's suffocation. That's a common story of that city, the metro city. The common story is the suffocation. You feel suffocated everywhere, where in the bus, in the metro, in the roads, in the studios, everywhere there is a suffocation. That suffocation is because of that air pollution, the common reason, and that suffocation is from all a lot of things because of the that you get suffocated sometimes with you get suffocated with thoughts. That suffocation of thoughts is there because at the same time you are carrying a lot of things because living in a city and you have a multiple visions here. You have to observe a lot of things at the same time, like you are doing a job, you are an artist, you have to go to this and you have to buy that, and all those things are sometimes you feel suffocated.
That's why,
And
I love Delhi and I love Mumbai too. I love big cities, love New York, but I can only take them for a short time. It's like my ideal amount of time is like maybe 4 days, and then after that, I've just got to get out because the traffic jams, all the people, and there you get a sense of being just a little speck of nothingness in a city. Whereas when I come back to Udaipur, I mean, it's kind of silly, but I come back to Udaipur, I feel like it's home and people know me and I'm not just some number, and it's very
that's
easy to
great.
feel like a number in a big place
Yeah,
like Delhi.
yeah. Look, Delhi has its merit and demerit both. When I was in Shantiniketan, it's a quiet place, if you remember. So when I moved from there to here, now it's a quite contrasting thing in my vision. When I entered first to the city, I was so much standing at some metro station and not having any conversation. I was very silent at that time. So somehow I also become the part of that city and groom myself like that and become one. But this lockdown has changed all the vision for me as an artist. It's changed the vision to see that city again. Now this city is empty and it looks horrible. It looks really horrible when you see the city empty like this and the roads are all empty and no people on the city. It's quite horrible and you feel like you're watching some horror movie.
It's out of a
The same.
science fiction
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just went to Jaipur and I stayed at a fancy hotel, but I made the comment in one of my comments. I said, well, all the staff are dressed like they're ready for a trip to Mars because they all had those plastic shields on and everything.
Yes, yes.
It's very surreal sometimes, the times that we're living through. Anyway, I think I should cut this short because I have to edit this and get it up by Sunday if I'm going to keep on schedule. And I don't want it to go too long. But thank you, Niraj.
I must say thank you to you first.
Are you doing okay? Do you have anything you want to complain about the art world? Say anything or?
No, not really, because they are doing their job and I'm doing mine.
Yeah. Okay. You're a content person. Okay.
So,
say goodbye.
Hi, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say goodbye.
Thank you very much for calling me here. And I must thank to Evelo, especially because you are doing a great job. You are inviting the young people, and it's a good platform to know each other.
I'm trying to. I mean, I just did this with Sujit.
Sujit SN. Yes, that's a wonderful one. I heard that.
Yeah,
Yes,
people
yes,
really
yes.
like this. This has gone
Yes,
up
yes,
to
yes.
almost 1,000 views. I think it is over 1,000 views on in
Yes.
analytics. So the
Okay.
channel's doing pretty good. We're getting more and more people aware, subscribing, and liking videos, which is important.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes,
Niraj,
yes.
goodbye. Thank you. And goodbye from Ivalo.
Thank you very much. Thank you.